to come all the way back, much lower, and people are going to be caught holding very expensive dollars, and they'll lose money. It happened before.
Do you think we'll be able to have a very narrow margin between the parallel market and the IFM?
Yeah, we call that exchange rate convergence and unification. Naturally, what happens when the announcement effect takes place, out of fear and speculation, things going on, and then they converge, and it has happened in every market. There's nothing different, and let me prove to you how it happened. All the queues for petrol, where are they today? So one would have thought, okay, since we have unlimited taste for petrol and driving our cars, what happened? Where are all the queues? Where are the queues for kerosene? Where are the queues for diesel? Once the pricing is right, then the demand and supply gap will disappear, and people go to the natural way of doing things.
So effectively, we're going to probably see a devaluation.
We'll see a currency adjustment downwards, right? And what it means is that effectively we have reduced our income. Every Nigerian will reduce it. But the state governments will have the dollars they get multiplied by a higher amount, and they will get more money to meet their obligations. Public health, transportation, logistics, and all these things will improve. So these are the pains that you have before the gains that will come. And so first and foremost, from a policymaker's perspective, you've got to be patient. From a consumer perspective, you want to ensure and insist that there's transparency and honesty. There's no point having a foreign exchange regime which is being abused and scammed. And anything is better than what we have right now. So the central bank, let's give them confidence, let's be patient, allow them come up with this policy, and then the policy will lead to a near equilibrium situation. It will not solve all our problems. They don't manufacture dollars. They actually kind of allocate the dollars in a much more efficient manner. What happened before was a rationing. We are going to go away from rationing to a much more market-driven allocative mechanism.
That's exactly what the central bank is hoping to achieve.
No, that is what the intention and the outcomes are going to be more likely to be achieved this time, as long as there's sincerity of purpose and there's courage to bite the bullet when you need to bite it.
Now, we know that some sectors of the economy have actually been affected by the central bank's FX stance.
Yes.
For instance, foreign airlines which ply Nigerian youth have complained that the central bank has not been releasing their revenues for onward repatriation. Will this problem be addressed, you think, by this new forex framework that will be announced?
I don't want to preempt the policy announcement because I have no idea of what it's going to be.
But we haven't.
Naturally, what will happen is that two big things. One, there's a backlog of payments that have not been made. Are you going to give them the dollars at the new rate when they've sold the tickets at the old rate, so that they'll take a bath? That is a major loss, what we call a devaluation translation loss.
Okay, so hold on to that thought.
Yes.
Let's take a quick break, catch our breath, and we'll come back and continue this conversation.
No problem.
Business Morning continues in just a moment. Stay with us.
Every day you invite us to your home. Now we invite you to our homepage. Join Channels TV on social media. Hang out with us on Google Plus/Channels Television. Follow us on Twitter at Channels TV. On Instagram /Channels Television. Friend us on Facebook.com/Channels Forum. And don't forget to like our page. That's not all. Subscribe to YouTube.com/Channels Web. To get constant video updates and news and events in Nigeria and around the world, ChannelsTV.com, the news at your fingertips.
Welcome back. The conversation with Bismarck Rewani, economist and, of course, Managing Director, CEO of Financial Derivatives Company, continues now. Is still here with me in the studios. Thank you so much, Mr. Rewani, for sticking around. So you were giving us your perspectives with regards how foreign airlines, particularly, will be reacting to this new framework when it's
what happens normally? Foreign airlines are one. There are others. Anybody who has
oil and gas.
Anybody who has arrears. The question is that I have sold my products based on 200 naira to $1. I have the naira. I need to pay my backlog of debt. If I now pay it at the new rate, let us say, for example, the new rate is 280 or 290 or 300, it means I've taken a 50% loss. apart from anything else. And when you're talking about $600 million of backlog, that loss is $300 million. The airline industry across the world, the entire airline industry, makes a profit of $7 billion. $300 million is a significant amount. It happened in Venezuela, and they pulled out. So you've got to come up with a program on how do I protect those who had incurred debts based on the old rate? Don't forget the central bank came out and announced to us the Naira is appropriately priced and all of that. But now we now know that it's not appropriately priced. So those of us who believed that assertion and took a position, how are you going to protect us? Are you going to tell us that we are going to give you the money at the old rate over an extended period? Or are you going to say to your Tenso Israel?
So how do you think in the coming days the markets are going to be reacting, particularly all of these investors who've got monies trapped in, and they're looking at it like, okay, fine, because it's a business that I've gone into, I'm going to lose whichever way it is, but such a heavy loss. Do you think we're still going to have some of these companies operating, or do you think they're just going to, already most of them have, but do you think it will continue closing shops and leaving?
No. You see, you look at, a market is a continuum. So you lose sometimes, you gain sometimes, but the losses cannot be too sharp and profound. Therefore, the policymakers will have to consider, how do I do this? Even if I'm going to accommodate them with some terms, will it not be abused? Everybody's going to come and say, I'm being owed. Even those who are not owed are going to come up. So it's a tall order. We've gone through this before in Nigeria. And so I think that it's central bank will consider all of these things and come up with a policy for the future. Going on forward from now, this is a new price. So for your old deals, we'll come and meet you and work out an arrangement. For the new transactions, we are going to do it at the new rate. However, if the new rate is a bifocal rate, that is a dual, a dual exchange rate, then there's also the possibility that that has to be managed and is not abused. Because once anything is discretionary, and I say, okay, you can stay on this window where it's 200, and you can stay in that window which is 300, then all sorts of things are going to happen. The most important thing is to have a unified, transparent, and open market where people can go in and go out. And China today was refused entry into the MSCI Emerging Market Index. Why? Because there's no openness and transparency and liquidity in its markets. And that we're talking about China, the second largest economy in the world. So there's something to be said about transparency, there's something to be said about honesty, and there's something to be said about sincerity of purpose.
Bismarck, thank you so much for coming on the program and, of course, sharing your perspectives with us. We'll keep our eye, we'll keep waiting, actually, for that announcement, which will be coming up at 2 p.m. Central African time.
Thank you.
But Bismarck Ruwani, thank you so much for coming. He's the CEO of Financial Derivatives Company.